Yeah, Damon, what happened? Like I didn't understand what you were saying.
What's going on, guys? FaZe Censor here, and today I'm going to talk about how you should handle a loss, particularly in Call of Duty, but it relates to everything. And maybe making this video right after we literally just lost isn't the best thing. As you could probably tell, I cried a little bit. I got a tear running down my eye, and I'm pretty pissed off about that. I'm just joking, guys. I wasn't really crying. I put in my contacts for the sake of this video. I don't like doing videos with glasses on, and for whatever reason, there's something in the contact and it's making my eye tear a little bit. But I am making this video right after we lost. We lost to Justice and Denial, and Justice, with all due respect, is by far the worst team. They're 7-30 in the league. They gave up halfway through the season, and we actually lost to them twice, and we ended up losing to them yesterday. And a lot of it has to do with effort, but I'm not going to get into why we lost and how we lost. But this video is particularly going to talk about how you should handle a loss, and this goes for everything. And I played sports my whole life. I played Call of Duty for, God, I'm 28 years of my life. I've been doing competitive things with my life ever since I was a little kid, and I've matured a lot. I've learned a lot about how to handle losses through Call of Duty because I was probably the worst person when it came to it. I would vent to my Twitter following. I would, bitch at my teammates. I would make up a lot of excuses, and I was just not a pleasant person to be around. So to get into it, the number one thing you need to do is have some silence. Like right after a loss, saying nothing is a lot better than saying something. Right after you lose, you're just thinking about what went wrong during the game, what you could have done better possibly. If you did everything right, what your other teammates and your players could have done better. And you want to just really, if you're the player who played really well, like in that strike zone domination, I had 32 kills and I did the best for the team. There was plays I messed up on, but for the most part, I felt like there was things my teammates could have done better. And if I'm going to yell at them about what went wrong and what they could have done better, it's not going to help. It's only going to cause more arguments. So that's probably the number one thing, is just having some silence after a match. It's so crucial. Take your time, be patient, let everything out, think things through. Let your head cool down, because obviously when you lose, you're going to get a head rush, you're going to feel adrenaline, you're going to be mad, you could be upset, you could get this really gaping hole in your stomach, and you just don't know how to fill it. You don't know what to do. You want to scream. Don't do it. Just let it be silent. Just have silence. I'm telling you. Don't. If you're a Call of Duty player, do not go to Twitter. Do never, ever, ever let people know you're mad. It's the worst thing you can do in the world. That's when you're most vulnerable. People are going to take what you say when you're mad and when you're really happy, and they're going to remember it. So the way you handle yourself when you're down is something that people are going to watch, and they're going to take note of that, because if they're going to end up playing with you, they don't want to play with somebody who's going to be bitching and yelling at people after they lose. They want somebody who's going to, be mature about things and talk about things in a mature manner. And multiple angles you need to look at things. Number one, got to be quiet after a loss. Just think things through. You got to look at things from multiple perspectives. You got to see things from your view, from the other team's view, from your teammates' views, from the outside public's view. You got to look at things in multiple different ways. It's very difficult to explain to you guys how to be mature about something after a loss, when a lot of you guys, I'm just going to be straight out, flat up and honest, you aren't mature. A lot of you guys are very immature, and I'm not saying that as if I'm the most mature person in the world, because I'm only 20. I still got a lot ways to go, but I know when I was in your positions, I was 16, 17, even 18, 19 years old. I was very, very immature with what I said and did. And I probably bet that a lot of you guys are too. So it's very hard to show you guys what you should be doing, but I think it's better to explain what you shouldn't do after a loss. The number one thing, do not attack your teammates and do not talk crap about your teammates to other people. If anyone who watches you and watches your games, they're going to see when you lose, they're going to know, they're going to see like what happened, what went down, how you lost, who was at fault. They're going to see it because they're watching from an outside perspective. They're going to see everything. You yelling at other people about what your teammates did wrong is only going to make you look like an asshole, and it's going to make you sound like an asshole, and the people that are listening to you aren't going to want to take anything from you, because if they end up playing with you and you lose and they go away talking to other people about how bad you played, it's going to make them look bad too. Talking bad about your teammates, especially publicly to other people, is probably the worst thing you could possibly do. Number two, look at what you did wrong in the game. Don't attack other people before you could see what you did wrong yourself. Once you understand what went wrong and what you did wrong, it's a lot easier to have a discussion with the players in your team about what actually happened in the game. It's very important to understand the things that you do and your actions and how it controls the game and how it controls the way your teammates are going to feed off of you. People underestimate the power of a positive attitude and effort. If you have effort, if you have positivity, people feed off of it. If you're going to, make calls and and tell people where to go and what to do, and they listen to you and it works, your team is going to be hyped up. But if you're going to come into it with a negative attitude, and anyone who plays Call of Duty knows this, if you're going to always bitch and argue and rage and blame people, you're going to play worse and your team's going to play worse. The third and final point of how to handle a loss is never, ever make excuses. Do not make excuses. I'm going to repeat myself one more time. Do not make excuses. Don't say, oh, it's because of this, it's because of that. It's because this guy wasn't doing this to me. It's because the connection was like this. Never do that. Excuses are for weak people. Nobody wants to hear somebody who's going to make up excuses. I learned that the hard way. I had a teammate back in the day named Vengeance, and all I would do when I teamed with Vengeance was make excuses about everything. If we won or lost, I'd always make an excuse, and he couldn't stand it. He loved me to death. He treats me like I'm his little brother, but it just got to the point where he could not stand talking to me just because of how many excuses I made. So don't follow my footsteps. Don't do the same mistake I did. Never, ever make excuses.